people, how's everyone doing? I'm in the chat, getting ready to go. Today is the Kimono panel on how to tie casual obi. Today I'm doing a summer version in case you saw the one I did for Techo. I'm wearing my summer juban. Your juban's your undergarment. So it'll be a little different than the one we did before. I'm looking forward to it. Also gonna close my door. There we go. So I'm going to give a few minutes for everyone to get in, and then I'm going to show you how to put on a kimono, which is pretty much the same as putting on a yukata. The only difference is you're wearing an undergarment. So I didn't want to stand around here in Muskevies to show you how to put on a kimono. I have a chat up where I can see it, so feel free to ask questions as we go along today. And let me know if there's any problems with the audio or anything like that. Sometimes my mic doesn't work the way I think it does. So let me know. Thank you so much for the follow. I do sometimes stream my sewing on here. Again, I'm Haley from the Black Ribbon, I'm the designer and the organizer for Ursa Major, and I really appreciate everybody tuning in and participating. It's been really wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's sad we're not doing Fanime, but it's really neat to be able to have people here and participating from all over the country and all over the world. So it has advantages and disadvantages, so it's nice. But yeah, it's officially time to start. So I will start out with showing you how to put a kimono on. So again, I am wearing what's called a juban. This is a two-piece juban. It has a skirt separate from the top. There are one pieces. People tend not to buy them when they're getting into kimono fashion because you have to kind of get the one piece ones kind of your size exactly, whereas obviously it doesn't matter if you're a little bit taller or a little bit shorter, it's a two-piece. So it's pretty common for people starting out to get two-piece. I also find them more convenient. It's what I prefer to wear, but the more you get into the fashion, you might end up getting a one piece. Anyways, so next I'm going to grab my kimono. And today, like I said, we're going to wear summer style fashion. The difference is, I don't know if you can tell, I think you should be able to, this is quite sheer. It is one layer, there's no lining. It is quite sheer. I don't know if you can see my hand through it maybe. This is a summer fabric. It's called Row, which is, I don't know if you can see, let me get real close up, but it's a little stripy. There's another couple of different sheer fabrics like this. One's called Sha, which is just like kind of traditionally sheer. But that's what you wear in the summer if you're not wearing yukata. A lot of people do just wear yukata. There's nothing wrong with that. Most people wear kind of casual style stuff. Oop, camera went out of focus. I'm sorry. Let me turn off autofocus. Give me 1 second to do that. Alright, so autofocus should be off, so I should be able to, and I guess this is probably a little bit easier to see the texture of the fabric. Again, this is called Row. And the collar I'm wearing today is called Row, so you can have decorative collars on your undergarment that just, I pinned mine on. I think you can see that I've got safety pins on this, but you can sew them on. Normally, traditionally, you just wear a simple plain white one, but you can add a little like touch of color, a little contrast by sewing on. They're called Han Ere, which means just like half collar. Ere means collar. And yeah, you just wrap them on. I like to safety pin mine on because I like to switch them out a lot. But it's a fun way to kind of decorate your outfit. So this kimono has a full width collar. You fold it in half. There's often either a snap, sometimes there's a little drawstring. This one just has a snap. Just going to put it on over my juban. Hair out of the way. Get my sleeves in there. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my collar and line it up. If you're dressing in a femme style, you want to be able to put at least the size of your fist between your collar, and sorry I have a ponytail today, it's a little bit of pain, your collar and your neck. The more you show, it's kind of like a little bit more like sassy, I guess, for lack of a better description. You'll see that Geiko, Geisha, Michael, they have quite a bit of collar showing. This is supposed to be a very feminine part of the body, so it's like a little showy. So, but if you're wearing a masculine style, you don't really worry about that as much. So I'm going to take a minute to like get this lined up nicely. And then I'm lining up my feet. And I'm sure you've heard this before, is left over right. When you get dressed, I'm trying to make sure this is lined up. This towards your hip first, and come on over with the other side. If you don't do left over right, you are dressing the way they dress a corpse. It's kind of a telltale way to know that someone's a beginner. It happens by accident. Often I'll accidentally do it when I'm dressing a dress form because I'm so used to dressing myself. At this point, you want to tie this closed. This is your hip area. I'm going to use an elastic to do this. You can just use a regular traditional tie, which is called a koshihimo. I find that they're really bulky if you use this. So I like some of the newer, more modern tools. But yeah, this is a koshihimo, totally acceptable to use this to get dressed. I do find it a little bulky, especially if you're going to wear it for quite a while. So I've switched to this handy dandy elastic that just has kind of like a simple hook. And this is like an adjustable situation. And then I'm just going to adjust carefully. And then we're going to fold it down. And this fold is called your ohashori. You'll note that a lot of kimonos, when you buy them off the rack, look really, really long. Same for yukata. You're not imagining that. They do look really long, but if you're dressing in a feminine style, you're supposed to traditionally have this fold as part of your garment. And so they're a little bit more adjustable in height that way. Hello, Jesus Lackey. So like I said, I do stream sometimes, so you're going to see some of my regulars pop in and say hello to me, which is great. Always love to see friends. Alright. Okay, and next I'm going to use what's called a Korin belt. Korin. This helps, especially if you're bustier. I know I don't look particularly busty, but I've got a sports bra on, which is what you should be wearing when you're wearing kimono because you want to be as cylindrical as possible. I personally don't pad my waist, but a lot of people who are more hourglass shaped do. That's totally normal. But this helps keep your collars closed because, like I said, if you're a little busty, it kind of gets a little messy up here. So this is a really great, handy little tool. And it just has a little snap clip. I'll show you up close. So just snaps closed like that. And it's just a piece of elastic. Again, it's adjustable. You clip it on one side of your collar and you feed it through your little underarm loops here. And it keeps your collar nice and closed. A little too high, a little lower on this guy. And you want to just adjust your collars so you can see that little pop of color. And there we are. So the next step I'm going to do is put, God, I can't think of the name. This is called a magic belt. This is an elastic version. There is a traditional tie version, and I'm blanking on the name of it because I've liked a lot of the modern tools because I think they're so much easier. Obviously, like that was super easy versus having to tie something down, but there is a traditional version of that, and some people love the traditional versions because a lot of them have really cute prints and stuff on them, even though it's like kind of hidden and no one's gonna see it. You know, it's like something a little special just for you. And last but not least, this is called an obi-ita. This is a summer version. I can show you what a more like typical version looks like real quick. This is a regular version. As you can see, the summer version is perforated so you can breathe and sweat all you want. What's nice about these guys is this is technically like a little pocket you can store stuff in if you want to. The like winter version also has one. It's a great little place to hide things. And I'm just going to use my magic belt to hold it in place. And essentially, I am ready to put on my obi. Any questions about that process? Happy to show you again. Take a second. The back view. You kind of want to straighten this out. Make sure you don't have a bunch of wrinkles. If you are a little more like hourglass shaped like I am, you might create a little fold on the side to kind of get rid of some like bulkiness. There you go. And then this just keeps your obi smooth when you're wearing it. So I put a link in there's like a little thing that says like where to find more info on the chat. All of that information is in there. There's like sets that you can buy that have like all of these tools that are just, we call them dressing aids, or like sometimes they're just called kimono sets. I have to update some things though, because Rakuten Global is switching to being just Rakuten, and then you have to get a shipping service. Obviously right now things are really difficult with it being the shipping situation from Japan, but I do need to update that because that has changed very recently, as in like 2 weeks ago. So the magic belt actually, I mean, yes it does, but what the magic belt really is for is so like I said, this is holding up this area. This is to give you a base to hold up your obi-ita, which is this guy. These can be really hard, by the way. And if you can't find an obi-ita, people do make them just out of like cardboard boxes. It just, like I said, keeps your obi smooth because it's nice and hard. This one's a lot thinner and more flexible, but it still is going to do that job. But it holds your obi-ita in place, and it also gives you kind of like a clean starting place that's not like flopping open, because you don't necessarily need a corn belt. It's really, corn belts are best for people who, like I said, are a little bit bustier. You don't need them. So this would be holding your kimono closed instead of the corn belt. The corn belt's just to keep your collars kind of neat. So I'm going to talk really quick about types of casual obi. I don't have a hiko obi on me. They're becoming more popular these days, and it's really important to note that like kimono fashion is still an active and evolving fashion. It's not dead. It's not like there's only one way to wear it. And a lot of the things I'm going to show you today are really currently popular, currently modern. This is the way people who do wear kimono like frequently are wearing it today. It's been a real huge resurgence of popularity in kimono styles in the last, I don't know, 50 years. Like a lot more people have been wearing them more frequently as a fashion. So it is still an evolving fashion. There's some really cool modern brands that I can link later. But yeah, so this is what we call hanhaba obi. This one is specifically meant to wear with a yukata. Yukata is the most casual style of kimono there is, and yukata is just a type of kimono. The type of kimono I'm wearing today would be called a hitoi ro komon. A komon just means it has a print that's all over it. Some prints will just be like on the sleeve and on the hem, and that's a more formal style. There's some that are solid, and that's actually technically more formal. This is a pretty subtle print, so I might be able to get away with dressing it up a little bit and considering it slightly more formal because it is a subtle print. And the main thing about formality in a lot of the ways is like you want to be not taking away attention from the event that you're attending. That's a very Japanese idea, I suppose. So you don't really tend to wear very bright, loud things, and yukatas often are very bright and very loud, to formal events. You tend to wear subtle, subdued things. But I digress. We're talking about obis. This is a hanhaba obi that's very meant for the most casual style. It's single layered. As you can see, it's kind of flimsy. It's not very stiff. It doesn't have what we call an obi shin. Shin is just being like an interfacing inside. Could I wear it with this and get away with it? Probably. But it's not meant to be worn with a kimono itself. It's meant more to be worn with a yukata. So I'm going to set this guy aside. And this is another Hanhaba obi, but this one is meant to be worn with kimono. These ones, a little bit thicker. And they tend to be double-sided. As you can see, it's a little thicker. I think this one does have a shin inside of it. I like that they're double-sided because sometimes the other side is like very bold, and then you can use it to contrast. But yeah, so I'm going to show you the very first, what's called a musubi. And if you are into food and you think of musubi as like spam musubi, musubi means knot from Japanese, and I think is probably a borrowed word when you're thinking of spam musubi. And it looks like a little knot of, you tie the knot of seaweed over your musubi. Anyways, this is called actually no musubi, musubanai. There's a couple of different forms of this. Again, kimono fashion is still active, and this is a fairly new like trend that started happening maybe a year or two ago. There's some books out on the topic. Sorry, I was making sure I didn't miss anything. So this one's really easy. Take the obi and find the midpoint. Fold it in half, longwise. That's up here. I'm going to take it behind you. And another tool you use a lot when you're dressing kimono is what they call them obi clips. I'm going to use a chip clip. This is Baymax. You could use a clothespin. You could use like a bulldog clip, like a paper clip. You're just going to clip the top guy to your obi shin. Not your obi shin, sorry, your obita, your hard guy, so that you can pull on it and give some force. Snip. Oop. Oh my, dramatic. I should have folded that a little harder. Sorry. Thank you for the follow. So you can snug it up. You might need to adjust where this ends up sitting. There we go. Boop. Boop. Okay. Now some people would say leave this on. I don't really think you need to. I don't think that's necessary myself. So yeah, just wrap it around, and then you would get you could either use what's a more traditional obijime, which is just a tie that you tie around. You could use a belt, which is very common right now. I've seen that done a lot. And that would be it for this one. And then you could fold this down if you want to have a little bit more stylish. But yeah, so like I know a lot of people get overwhelmed by the idea of putting on and tying an obi. This one is so easy, you guys. I just wrapped it around myself twice and then made it cute. So I hope some of this takes away some of the scariness of trying to try these styles out. And there's no knot in the back, so for me this is a really great one if you're going to be driving or sitting for a long time. Or like, let's say you're a wheelchair user, this is an absolutely wonderful one because it's easy, it isn't very constrictive, and there's no bulk in the back of your, if you're sitting in a wheelchair or anything like that. So this is a really accessible, super easy style that I'm a huge fan of. Very modern, called Musubanai, which means no musubi, which means no knot. There's a whole book out there that I'll try to remember to add to the panel information. That's just on how to do different versions of this. And we're going to do one more no musubi style after this. So hope that was pretty easy for you. Do it. Take this guy off. Okay, so this guy up again. Same deal where it's in half. The difference is I'm gonna put it over a little further this time. And then I'm just gonna take this, and we can take both ends and do it a little differently. And we're just gonna make some cute pleats. I always have to like check myself in the mirror. Does this look cute? Do I look stupid? Oh, this guy's not on the thing. There we go. So these ones are a little bit more complicated, but yeah, you just want to take it, make some cute pleats. Same deal over here, making some cute pleats. Alright, so I made a bunch of pleats. They don't look cute yet because it's just a mess, but I'm going to have to straighten it out after I get this strapped down. I'm going to use a different type of OBGMA. This one just hooks, like a bra hook kind of thing. Well, not like a bra hook, but like a swimwear hook. I can actually snug it up a little bit. It is actually quite warm today, so I'm glad I wore my summer kimono. I was gonna do a yukata, but I was like, no, I don't think I can, because I couldn't think of a good way to not like. So that is one style there. So it's pleated, and you can twist this to the back if you want to keep the front more smooth, and then have that as your back. And again, that's a very like modern style, very simple, very clean. Very new ways they've been doing things. So hope you've liked some of these really like quick ways to get dressed, and it's not stressful, I hope. And then I'm going to show you the one that like kind of everybody thinks of when they think of like basic yukata obi next. So, but like I said, if you have any questions about any of these, you want me to slow down or redo something, I'm happy to show you again. So twist this around. My beautiful pleats, they're about to hit the ground. Bye. Okay. So, this one, I think, called Butterfly. I don't know. This is the one that looks like a bow. This is the most common one that everyone does when they think of doing kimono obi, like for yukata. So I'm just going to take this, take my chip clip, put it to my collar, give myself a little bit of room here. Then I'm going to take it and fold this so it has like a nice clean fold area here. I'm going to wrap around my body. One time, I'm going to smooth it out because I can tell there's a big old mess happening behind me. There we go, smooth that out. I'm going to hold this down here, go around a second time. Okay, and you want to grab that most bottom layer, hold it, and then pull to snug. All right. Now, take your obi ends, and you're going to just tie a basic knot, and I'm going to say we'll do long over short. That could be wrong. I'm doing this one from memory because it's not that hard. Long over short, I think that works out. And then what you want to do is take the obi and fold it to be about hip or shoulder width. And then, ooh, I forgot to grab one really important thing. This is my cheat, and I'm gonna go grab one, I know where it is. Use a hair tie to hold this shape in place so that you can like make it look as cute as you want. So give me 1 second. There we go. Literally just a regular old hair tie. So now you have time to like fluff it up and make it look really nice and neat. And then if you want to do a little contrast, you can use the wrong side, the right side, whatever, the other side of the obi. You're just going to take it, snug it up, make your bow cute again. Take it one more time, and then you're going to tuck it behind, like between the layers. If you can grab it. Ooh. Now, if you're a little bigger, you may not be able to do that, and that's okay. You don't need to. But you could have used the right side of the obi to do that shape too. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now it's just a very simple classic bow. And then you would just turn it. And when you turn your obi like front to back, you want to go from the left around, like in the direction of your collar. If you go against your collar with this fold in here, you're going to undo your dressing a little bit. It's going to get messy, so we're going to go this way with the collars. Make yourself middle. And that's very classic, very simple. That's what everyone thinks of when they think of like getting dressed to go yukata. This is the same one you would use if you're wearing hakama. I don't know if you guys know what hakama are. I can go grab one and show you real quick. It's essentially a skirt that you wear over your kimono. There are pant versions, but the ones that women mostly wear, you wear with a hanhaba obi, and you wear it over it. If you would like to see that, I can certainly show that too. So yeah, simple and clean. You would wear this with a hakama, you would wear this with a yukata. Very classic tie, good one to have in your repertoire. Again, none of these are really hard, it just takes a little bit of practice. And sometimes I just play dress up by myself, just to get a little extra practice in. Yeah, hakama skirts are great. I'll show you mine just so you guys can see it. 1 second. So this is a hakama. The front is a little longer than the back because it does go over this obi, the back, and it kind of creates like a little bustle bump in the back, like a little booty bump back there. And the hakama, some hakama have this, some don't. There is. Let me take this off my hair real quick. There is a little tab here, and this actually tucks in right back here on top to hold it in place. It tucks, like literally tucks into your obi. So that's why you wear this type of musubi when you wear a hakama skirt. They're super comfortable. I like wearing them a lot when I'm doing cons if I'm gonna wear kimono, because you can actually take full length strides, whereas like if you're wearing kimono, you don't really want to like take a full length stride because it'll mess up your dressing, but this is covering that area up if you're wearing it, and no one needs to know what's happening under here when you take big ass long walking strides. So, and also these are made of polyester usually. They're washable, machine washable, so if you're wearing something silk and you want to keep it clean, hakama your friend. I love them. They are really adorable. Big fan. Highly recommend. Okay, now I'm going to show you, sorry, I got distracted. two more complicated ones. One is kind of a variation on the bow, and then the other one is another, again, like I said, there's a lot of modern styles, and it's actually not that hard, this is the last one. There's a lot of modern styles that just are like a lot of different layers of just kind of bow ears on top of each other, if that makes sense. That's a very popular style right now. Hi there, Chewy, how you doing? So, alright, I'm gonna take this guy off. And again, hair tie super easy. I have lunch! I need lunch. I'm gonna take lunch after this, before I do my evening panel. Thank you for hanging out. Prince Arbit, we appreciate you. Okay, so I actually have the instructions printed out for these because I don't do them very often. Let me just make sure there's nothing too complicated. Okay, so this is going to be short end over long. Okay. This is one of those things. Oh, appreciate you too, man. It's so funny. Like, this just goes to show you that once you get into doing this, you'll pick a few that are like the ones you can remember how to do on your own, no problem. And then there's ones that you're like, wait, how to do what? With the what? With the who, what? That you're just gonna be like not that familiar with, because you just don't do them very often. So this one, mark up to center. Okay, got it. This is a weird one. So they want me to start out this way. So this is using the full width. I know some of them we didn't. You appreciate she. Sheila is my dress form, who is not in the room right now, but that's what he's talking about. Okay. This one's a little weird because they want you to do the wrong collar, in my opinion. It drives me crazy, but okay. Yeah, they're doing the wrong collar. Whatever, dudes. It's hard to clip on the collar that's your right collar. It's a little harder to clip on, but that's what they want to clip on, so we'll do it. So when you start out with your one end folded, you can make this kind of like great arrow shape if you're real good at folding. So I hope you like this nice, neat, concise arrow. Okay. Make sure I'm straightening myself out. Hold the bottom, pull tight, come around. Is that really how short this is supposed to be? We'll see. Hoop, flop. So this is going to be this end over this way. Pull tight. This says make a bow. My bow's kind of short, but that's okay. Where'd my hair tie go? Handy dandy hair tie. Oh yeah, so that's a lie. I thought so. I thought this was weird. We're gonna start over, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I lied to you. Alright. I thought that was a little strange. I also don't like the other side, so we're gonna do it this way. It just wants it to be an even at the end, and like that's hard to figure out where that is. I totally understand that part, but I think that's better. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do this the other way around because I really hated clipping it to that side, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate you. you for the follow. Appreciate you. Snug, snug, snug. Okay. We'll try this again. Flop. Much better. Okay. Make this bow. Yes, this is much more what they want me to do. So, I'm making a bow, but this time I'm gonna have a floppy tail end hanging out, which should be about the same length as this guy. Not the same length, because clearly this is not my best skill. But we're going to take these and we're going to flip them under. Hold on, make this a little more even, I hope. It doesn't really matter if they're super the same size. Oh my god, everyone's making that Sheila spin. Thank you for the follows. Take it. Can I get under here? Yes, I can. Okay. Flip it over the top. Now, if I was really good at this, which I clearly am not, I haven't practiced this one a lot, these would be the same length on top these little ears, but they're not because, well, because. So what I can do is adjust it by grabbing just the one layer, which is unfortunately the bottom one. And making it a little shorter. There we go. Well, that didn't come out as good as I know it can, purely because I just didn't get the ends right. But it's not bad. It's just not perfect. I'm going to even these guys out. There we go. So in a perfect world, this bow would be a little wider. These guys would be the same length. I think this obi might be a little short for me to do this with, personally. Sometimes you have to do a little bit longer obis to accomplish certain tasks. This one's looking a little short, because otherwise it's fine. These are just like, the ends are just a little shorter than they need to be. So I think this might be an issue of an obi too short for this particular purpose, which is fine. But the steps were all there, just didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to. You know what? I think that's exactly how extra it needs to be. I think that's perfectly appropriate. So yeah, while this didn't come out the way I really thought it would, and if you look at the pictures, it's a little bit different. It's purely because I think this obi is a little too short, and that's a good lesson to learn. You know, your body types are a little different. Sometimes they don't work out the way they're supposed to because of obi length. A lot of the, you know, they're doing these samples on mannequins, which are tiny little sample sizes. And especially if you're using like vintage, this isn't vintage, but I'm just, for example, if you are using vintage obi to try and do this, a lot of the times they're going to end up shorter than you think because they were, you know, smaller. All right. So we're going to do this last one, which is actually one of my favorites. This one's pretty straightforward. Just gonna make sure I know the steps before I do them. Yeah, this one's super great. And this is very, very like current and modern, and this is how a lot of people are doing things right now. Again, a lot of these are a lot less bulky in the back than some of the more traditional ones. So one of the more formal styles, or the formal styles, called otaiko, I hate it. It's got to be my least favorite obi style you could possibly do. I hate it so much. It's just really boring, and it's also very bulky and very uncomfortable. So I tend to dress casually when I dress in kimono. And I wear kimono probably once a month for funsies. And like, you don't need to have an event necessarily to wear it too. Sometimes you can just dress for yourself. That's okay. Just like, you know, you wear any other J fashion in general. Okay. This one is going to be, this is called the tay. This is like the short end, so we call this short over long versus long over short. And I'm going to make one ear with this guy. And I have my hairband. I lost it again. There we go. It's true. I do play dress up. There's a kimono group online called Immortal Geisha, and they have like a thing called Fundangi. Sorry, I can't remember how it's called. Friday, which is just like dressing casually and showing your coordinates. I'm trying to encourage people to try casual dressing more, because a lot of people who are into like kimono stuff get really excited about getting really formal stuff together. Which is neat, but like super unnecessary. Like, it's cool. I'm super supportive of dressing formally. It's beautiful stuff, but it's also like, that's not how you wear kimono every day, right? Like, that's not, you don't wear the most formal stuff all the time. Okay, so I don't know if you just saw what I did there. Did I do that too fast for you? So this is the long end. Short end I remade like a little bow guy with my elastic band. This guy, we're just gonna take and fold like this. And we're just gonna flip this under this band here. Tuck it under. And we're just going to use this to hold. And we're just going to make a bunch of different like foldy loopy bits. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll take this guy out again. Instead of doing it this way, we really should be doing it more like a zigzag situation. There we go. I see my mistake. I see my mistake. Okay, there we go. That way you have like a loose end, which I didn't have before. Loose end. Yeah, so this is actually really kind of popular. There's other ways of doing this same kind of shape that's very popular right now, where it's just kind of got like one or two ears and then like lots of like hanging flappy loops. This is very, very, very like modern, typical of what we see a lot in like kimono magazines right now. Just there's a lot more like really fun, casual, laid back styles that are coming out right now. So this is that. So I'm going to show you before I open up to questions one last thing that I think is really useful. Fancy schmancy kimonos or OTT Lolita. I don't know. Like right now, I'm really into. I don't really wear fancy kimonos because like the two types of like fancy kimonos there are. One is like called a kurotome sore. I don't own one, first and foremost. I find that like a lot of kimono gets really like mature and like kind of boring as you get older. What you're supposed to wear as formal wear free sode are very, very bright, but like once you're in your 30s, you're not supposed to wear them. I don't have any problem wearing one. I just don't like them very much. They have very long sleeves. They're gorgeous, very expensive, and very impractical because you have these giant long hanging sleeves. They're neat. I think they're cool. They're not really my thing though. And OTT Lolita, I have to say that like too many frills is also a problem for me. I really like an in-between. Like I love femininity, but I also like being comfortable. So I guess neither. I don't really like either, I suppose. It's kind of funny. Both. I go out. I live in San Francisco. I am actually half Japanese. So I guess I feel less weird about it than some people might. The topic of cultural appropriation is actually banned in some of the communities online because it gets just kind of beaten to death as a topic. It's a fashion. You should wear it. It's not dead, like I said. It's not like some like strictly, you know, but there are a couple of like places and times that you should be respectful. Like if you want to wear, and I'm sorry, I got the song backwards still. If you want to wear something, like you want to wear a kimono, and like you don't have to, but if you want to wear kimono to tea ceremony, for example, you should find the rules for what is appropriate to wear to tea ceremony. Those are actually quite strict rules on what you should wear or shouldn't wear to tea ceremony. If you are gonna get dressed up to do it, you don't have to, but if you're trying to, you know, meet a certain cultural standard, then go all the way. Don't half-ass it. I guess is the best way I can describe that. Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, but if you want to wear it like yukata is very casual, wearing that out, do it. Absolutely. And there's fun, really cool ways to wear it, like with Western clothes. There's great brands like Soso, it's S-O-U, that mix Western fashion and Japanese traditional fashion. They have like kimono style button downs. They're a really cool brand. It's neat. Oh man, there's some brands that I'm super obsessed with. There's a brand called Double Maison, and there's another one. Oh god, I have their links, and I can put their links in the chat in a minute. There are some amazing kimono brands out there that I would love to own things from. They're actually just as expensive as any Lolita piece. And I actually have a harder time because they don't really ship abroad. So if I go to Japan, I try to go like once every while. I'm like, let's take an empty suitcase and just load it with kimono. I have made a couple myself. And those fit me the best because I'm very tall. I'm 5'9" or 175 centimeters. And it is an impediment to finding things that fit. As you can see, this is kind of short on me. They actually should like kind of go here, these. So it's a little bit short in the sleeve for me, for example. And I don't know if you guys know anything about how kimono are traditionally made, but the fabric is in like this is the width of the fabric itself. Like this is it. This is how wide a bolt of kimono fabric is. And I have a bolt somewhere, but it's kind of hard to dig out to show you. But they literally are like a scroll fabric. And so they make the sleeve and they make the body. So it can be really hard to find things that fit like taller, wider width, like wingspan width people because of those limitations. And also like if you've got a bigger body, that's also can be a problem. So they're moving away from some of that, but that is traditionally like a thing that's a part of kimono. Oh, I know, Double Maison. Oh, I love them so much. I love Double Maison. They are such a brand. How many yards of fabric? So if you're talking about like traditional Western fabric, like a 45 width, so it's like about 5 yardsies. For someone who's as tall as I am, you can get a little bit shorter than that if you're, you know. So there's no, I don't know if you can see this or not. There is no shoulder seam. So this piece of fabric goes all the way over and then back down and then all the way down. It's one strip of fabric for each side. So you need a lot of yardage. And whenever I cut a kimono, I posted it on my personal Facebook. I don't think I've ever posted what it looks like when I lay it out. It's like, it takes up my whole living room. This is like this one long strip of fabric that goes all the way up and back over. So it's like twice as tall as you are, essentially. I was supposed to release a yukata this year, and I could show you the fabric. because I was supposed to do this. Things got a little hectic, and I want to. There is one kimono already up in my shop right now, but I was supposed to make this yukata this year. So hopefully it'll still be a thing. I might do a few of them. I think I have enough to make 2 or 3. This whole bolt of fabric might make 3. That's how much fabric yardage they are. So that's why they're kind of pricey. It's not that they're complicated garments to sew, it's that there are a lot of fabric yardage. Exclusive sneak peek. Yes, and I will definitely put the links to my favorite kimono companies up. I love modern kimonos so much. There's so many cool things out there. Definitely my weird hobby that I love. And I'm gonna show you one other quick thing with Obi before I disappear. And you keep asking questions. This is just like a quick thing I wanted to show you guys. But yeah, I could talk about all of my. There's a really cool kimono company that I recently found that takes old kimono that like are damaged and then cuts them up, and like you'll have like a slash of color. I think that's super fucking cool. And you can get like kimono from flea markets in Japan for super cheap, so it's really easy to do that. Just gonna wrap around. I should have used my clip, but I didn't. It's hard. That's why I use an Obi clip. Yeah, it's a really cool brand I just kind of recently found on Instagram. I follow a lot of like tags for kimono stuff on Instagram just to like kind of get ideas. If you have a Japanese keyboard in your phone, it makes it super easy. Yeah, there's so much cool kimono stuff out there. I know. Well, there's a couple places locally that I'm able to do that, but it's not super common. So this is what will be the front, right? So here's like a little thing you can do, especially if you've got a Obi that's really contrasty, is like create little diagonal folds. Add some color difference and variance in your Obi tying. I'm just going to do a really simple, this is like one of the ones that I just couldn't remember how to do off the top of my head with like no effort whatsoever. I can do this one anytime I want, every time. Yeah, there's a shop in San Carlos. It's only open on Saturdays, just to annoy me, that has like a whole rack of kimono for $20, and I go there a lot. Won't lie, that's a great resource to have locally. You're in the Bay Area. But yeah, there's a bunch of shops in SF Japantown and in San Jose Japantown. Alright. I don't care how messy this part is, it doesn't matter. The point is to show you this stuff in the front. Screw that. So, like I said, you can kind of see this is beige. You can create a lot of like visual interest in the front just by folding this around. I know, this is what I'm talking about. Double Maison is so beautiful. And they actually have like a J Fashion line that's kind of more like natural K style stuff too. And their stuff, and everything's so expensive, but I love them so much. They're so gorgeous. Yeah, so there's that. That's another quick, easy visual thing you can do. That's pretty simple. Yeah, I'll try and, like, I love I have all these like resources, and I'm like, yeah, I should link that. I should do that. Let me quickly throw a couple of links as I have them like on a tab to show you guys. 1 second. 1 second. I'll put them up. So that brand I just linked is absolutely amazing. Let me see if I can find. There's another one on my Instagram. I'll have to find the link to Instagram. Oops, I just saw them come back. Why are you like this? Oh, there's a really cute company I saw when I was in Osaka last. Let me find this one. And I just saw them on my Instagram, and then like it was like it refreshed my feed, and it was like, no, just kidding. So I'll have to find that. That's the one that has the cut. The cut kimono I was talking about. Why are you like this? But yeah, so. Any other questions you guys have? Sorry, I gotta get back to the chat. I'm not in there. Give me just a second. Okay, I'm back now. Yes. Yeah, Sakugen has some fantastic pieces. And I'm really mad because I was actually in the building that their shop is in when I was in Osaka last time, and I didn't realize it because it's like several blocks long. This like one of those like crazy Japanese like shopping centers, and it's like 3 stories, and it's like 7 buildings, and each building is a block long. So like I don't know if there was no way I would have found it. Yeah, if you're hearing like beeping and stuff, I live like across the street from a grocery store, so and like the turn in is really hard, so people often like honk at each other like, get out of my way. Very normal. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, any other questions I can answer? I think my favorite kimono that I made for myself is I made one of those kind of like stars and horoscope. I wish I had like lined the print up a little bit better, but it's probably one of my favorites as far as like that's my aesthetic. And then there's like really great kimono fashion magazine called Kimono Hime. It's like mixes a lot of Western elements in, like cute little pillbox hats are really fashionable right now to wear. Yeah, I mean the whole point is really the textile, and there's like a lot of really cool textile techniques, like using like real gold threads, embroideries. It is obviously it's about the fabric. This is a very simple style, and I think what's really fun about kimono is that like it's the print matching and like mixing and matching really loud prints. There's not a lot of fashions where it's like acceptable to like get really loud prints in multiple places, and it's like that's right, you're doing it good, you're doing the right thing. Like that's probably one of my favorite things. Let me pull my Instagrams up. Do I prefer my homing kimonos? I only like them because they fit me better. But the textiles from like Japan are like obviously way better. I don't know how to browse the people I follow. What is that? Why don't I know how to do that? It's really annoying. I would follow Double Maison. They post some really great stuff. Kimono by Nandishiko has been posting a lot of really great videos like this on their live thing. Let me switch over to my personal account. I think there might be more kimono stuff that comes up on there than, yeah. Trying to see. It's really frustrating because I don't really know how to like search my own. Oh, here's one. Okay, so it is Shito Hisao. Yo, okay, let me find that one. Yeah, that was a really annoying website, sorry. That's the one that has all the cut pieces, though. I just found them. I was like, ooh, this is terrible. I'm sorry. But yeah, there's a lot of Instagrams that I follow that are just fantastic, and there's so much good stuff out there. But so we're kind of running the last 5 minutes so that I don't go over. And I will try and, like I said, put a bunch. Oh my god. I will try and put a bunch of like links of like my favorite Instagrams up in the Kimono Panel thing later today and update it. Oh yeah, we were trying to find. Diner is one of my friends, and he dresses with me sometimes. And I don't do men's kitsuke, which is what the word for coordinate is in Japanese for like kimono. It's called kitsuke. I don't do men's kitsuke very often, so I don't know how to tie the men's obi. There's like one style for men's obi, sadly, which I think is horrible. There's really one style that everyone uses, and I don't really tie it often enough, so I have to like Google it every time and YouTube it. And there's this one lady or a video that they pronounced yukata as yukata, and like every time I was like, ooh, it's so terrible. It just makes you cringe every single time. So it was pretty terrible, but very, very cringy. Yeah, but if you have any other questions, last minute, and then I will update some links of like my favorite brands and my favorite Instagrams to follow. Yukata. And we're like, ooh, no, let's not do that. It's pretty terrible. And I will try, and next time we do a kimono panel, do like one menswear version just so you can see it. Yeah, I'll dress my husband up and he will hate every living minute of it, but he does have a kimono and a yukata of his own, and then we can also talk about jinbei and other stuff. So, but yeah, if there's any other kimono topics you guys would like me to cover in the future, let me know too. This is one of my other favorite hobbies, so I'm totally down. You can DM me or like at me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. You guys obviously know where I'm at, so, or even DM me here. It'll take me a while to see it if it's on Twitch, but you can definitely do that. And then I'm going to figure out what the next stream is, and then we'll set up kind of a raid for them and go ahead and raid host those guys up. Ah! But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm excited about the next couple streams. And then I'll be back this evening to do a stream on how to do some patterning and sewing, my other thing that I obviously do. So, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful to have you here. And I'll figure out what the next channel is that we're supposed to be watching, and we'll go raid them. Thank you again.